YouTube. So, it's been quite a while since I've made a video and posted it on my channel, but with the amount of content and news and information that I'm gathering today, in the next couple of days, and as weeks go by, we found something very interesting where I had to just say something about it. And it is actually about Disney. So I'm not going to go too deep into this article, but you could find this website from Variety.com, and the title is Disney's Boy Trouble. Studio seeks original IP to win back Gen Z men amid Marvel Lucasfilm struggles. So, there is no question, without a doubt, that the MCU and Lucasfilms, aka Star Wars, and many other movies from Disney have basically didn't meet expectations with what they were looking for. And the main reason is because of how they treated the men in the first place. Now, forget the fact that men are the main consumers of Marvel and Lucasfilms, aka Star Wars. But for some reason, Disney decided to hire women directors and producers and storyboard tellers to make it more of a women's movie, more than a men's movie. And obviously the men aren't going to be watching that, like me, especially Gen Z men, because we don't even have to really talk about Gen Z men that are just walking away from Marvel movies and Star Wars movies. We're walking away from all that shit in general because, why would we want to watch that? Like, I'll be honest with you guys, I watched all the original 6 Star Wars, and y'all can make fun of the prequels all you want. Them prequels are better than any Disney Star Wars movie that has came out. So I don't care. And with Marvel, I felt like you could start to see it at Avengers Endgame. And, when you saw the women all lining up to, like, run and shit, it was unnecessary. Like, it's unnecessary. You guys are just doing this on purpose. To me, that was the start of it. And it's continuously gotten worse and worse and worse. Now, let me get back to the article real quick. I'm gonna just look at a couple more things. Look, they already started with a joke. It was like, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty aren't the only ones looking for a prince. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios has been pressing Hollywood creators in recent months. Multiple sources. Wait, let me restart that. Leadership at Walt Disney Studios have been pressing Hollywood creatives in recent months. Multiple sources tell Variety for movies that will bring young men back to the brand in a meaningful way. Young men is defined here by sources as ages 13 to 28, aka Gen Z. Now, I can tell you right now, as a grown-ass man, I'm not watching Madam Web. I'm not watching Snow White. Well, I might have watched it. I might watch it. Like, I watched the animated one. I'm not going to watch the live action one. I'm not going to watch you guys tear down Star Wars because you want to have a woman's right movement bullshit. Like, and I'm not I'm not even going to say that. Fuck, whatever. But when you're trying to make money, even though women consume a lot, you have to make sure they consume the things that they like personally, like, they have their own thing and we have our own thing. Not to say that no woman was watching Marvel movies or reading Marvel comics or cartoons back then, or, you know, the Star Wars series and shit like that. But you still have to cater to the men. Like, we as men are not hard to please. And this is why anime has been at the top of the game for who knows how long. Because Japan don't do that bullshit where they shit on their male audiences that are the main consumers of this product. They don't do that. They make sure they give the fans what they want. Now, do I have problems with the anime studios and anime and manga too? Yes. Because anime sometimes can take a long time for them to make another season. Sometimes we might not ever get another season. But hey, they still give us what we want. Marvel doesn't. Does anybody, never in my life has anybody said, I want to watch Ironheart. No one gives a fuck about Ironheart. No one ever cared about She-Hulk. No one ever cared about She-Hulk. But hey, let's make a 7-episode series about She-Hulk. And it got canceled. Star Wars. I forget what the name is called. I think it's like Apocalypse or something. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the new Disney Star Wars movies. That shit's bullshit. You got female main characters as Jedis. You got Lucas Skywalker dying off some bullshit. Like, you're just trying to, like, have your male fans walk away from you. And then you're going to be like, oh yeah, we want you guys back. What? That's like a girl cheating on you for a man that she knows isn't shit. And then she tries to come back with you after she found him sleeping with somebody. Meanwhile, you were just loyal to her. You were loyal to her the whole time. You didn't cheat on her. You didn't talk to other women like that. You know, you made sure you respected her wishes. She didn't do that for you, though. She just shitted on you and then went to another guy. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. And as a 26-year-old man, I don't see myself still watching this shit. Like, the only thing that really is grabbing my attention was the Fantastic Four movie. I watched that one. That was a good movie. I actually watched that yesterday. And I'm going to make a review about that. I might watch it one more time to give you, like, my full descriptive review about it. But it was a good movie. That gets a pass. And Avengers Doomsday. Those are the only two movies that caught my eye during that whole time. Like, for years. Eternals was ass. Black Panther 2 was ass. You know, like, the new Captain America was ass. Thunderbolts, whatever the fuck that shit's called. Who cares about that? No one cared about these heroes. Deadpool and Wolverine was actually good too. I'll give them that. Deadpool and Wolverine was good. But again, we're missing the main focus. These guys don't like male audiences. And they make it obvious. Why would we want to go back when we know you're going to do bullshit again? And this is why they're struggling. Okay, so this is so bad that even, like, the website that I'm looking at, Variety.com, is making jokes, like, on their news article. Like, it started off with this, because I already told you about leader at Walt Disney Studios have been pressing Hollywood creators in recent months, trying to get the audience, like us, Gen Z, me, you know, to watch their shit. So, look, he was like this. First, duh. I literally just said this. Every film studio is looking for better ways to convert young audiences into habitual moviegoers. Numerous studies show that Gen Z men in particular are lonely, gaming-obsessed groups who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns. Not the easiest segment to grasp, but what's surprising producers, writers, and other partners in larger industry is that Disney has been calling for original concepts to lure the demo back to the movies. Again, might be a little bit too late now. When you start shitting on your fans, it's the same thing like the WWE. I'll tell you like this. For those that watch the WWE, and for those that used to watch WWE back in the 80s, the 90s, and then the 2000s, which it really started to, downgrade. Vince McMahon had all these superstars and all these wrestlers, great TV production scripts, all of this. It was the most popular thing back in the 80s and 90s, especially the 90s, the late 90s. Vince McMahon decided in around 2005, 2006 that he was going to make this certain character become the main character of a wrestling company called John Cena. Now, I don't have any problems with the personal guy named John Cena. But when you're shoving this guy, John Cena, the wrestler, down everybody's throats who isn't that much of a good wrestler, fans that were realistic then and that are seeing him can't, like when they see someone like John Cena that can't really wrestle, he looks unathletic, he's big as fuck, a weight room athlete, he could talk a little bit, but this is not a top 5 wrestler that you're pushing. Like, this is a guy that is mid when it comes to wrestling wise. But you want to know what Vince did? He said, I don't really care what the fans want. This is about what I want. And again, most of his viewers left. Even now, WWE is still making money, but they left so much more money out of the table because they decided they want to just go with this one guy and have him beat wrestlers that are better than him. So when you get poor promotion, no one wants to watch that shit. No one wants to pay for something to be disappointed in the results that they were expecting to see. But because the promoter wants this certain person to win, like he's a fucking created character or something, yeah, no. People are going to leave. People are going to be like, you know what, fuck this. I'm just going to watch some real fighting, like UFC, boxing, and like kickboxing. People are going to watch shit like that. They're not going to just keep watching this fucking trash-ass wrestler win over people that we know is better or should get a bigger push than John Cena. Excuse me. This is the same Disney whose multi-billion-dollar content engines, Marvel and Lucasfilms, have sated men all over the ages, almost 2 decades since the company acquired them. The sources say Disney has been seeking a new IP and pitches that, such as a splashy global adventures and treasure hunts, as well as seasonal fare-like films for the Halloween corridor. The calls come as the Star Wars machine struggles to produce any film project in superhero genre sheds audiences by the minute. Now, obviously, again, I will say this again. I'm trying not to make this a long video, but I have to explain this because who knows if they're watching this. They probably watch videos and, they want to get opinions and, when they want to hear this shit. Again, when you're making women the main character in a movie or show that you're producing that is mostly for men, how are men going to relate to that? They're not. So they're going to leave. Like, anime gets it right. That's why we go to anime and games. Because we look for results that we're expecting to find. I've never heard anybody get so disappointed about animes when it came to a woman main character. Free Run is a good example. Now, Free Run should have been Anime of the Year. Does anybody relate to this strong-ass elf woman? Hell no. But we can understand and empathize. Wow, I can't even say it. We can understand where she's coming from And she's a cool ass character. And they're not actually treating the side characters, which are the men, like shit. They're not treating them like little bitches, like how they're doing with Star Wars and shit. I don't want to see that. I'm clicking out of it immediately. If I see some shit where a girl is doing some crazy shit and a man can't do it, you know what? I'm leaving. Because it's not realistic at all. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's just not. You don't do that to your male important audience like Marvel and Star Wars. Those are two of the biggest franchises where it comes to fans, aka men, being like fucking nerds, studying this shit, looking at this shit. People are treating this shit like a fucking job to review that shit. And you're just gonna lose all of them because you want to just make, you want to put this agenda on there. And then you want to shit on the men. And then expect the men to watch the shit that you're shitting on them with. Fuck you. Fuck you, honestly. While two insiders say the mandate to recruit young males goes as high as the C-suite, the task primarily fallen on David Greenbaum, the former Searchlight Pictures co-head brought on in 2024 to run Disney's live-action film businesses. That label has been sorely lacking in a guy learning fare like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise for nearly 10 years. Studio insiders say property in active development, though not in its last reported iteration involving Margot Robbie. Now, Margot Robbie, she went to star in a Barbies movie. Did you see any male Barbies or a main character male Barbie that was the main guy? Like, no, there was her mans. He was just there. That shit focused on women. It focused on women. And you want to know what they did? They made lots of money because they stuck to their audience. They stood by their audience, which they know is mostly women. Little girls, teenagers, and somewhat adults. Most women from Gen Z has grown up on Barbies. I think Barbie started around the 1990s. So most women from the 1990s to now, or even later then, like even earlier on, because dolls have been here since the beginning of time as well. Well, not since the beginning of time, but dolls have been here for a very long period of time. They're catering to their women, female audiences. Again, why can't we have that for ours? Let me see. Is this the last part? Okay. To say nothing of the lackluster attempt to reboot and hand off Indiana Jones in 2023, which earned $383 million worldwide on a $300 million budget before marketing costs. A Disney source said that movies for Gen Z men are a part of an overall strategy across all labels, but no more urgent than any other quadrant. Who the fuck would want to, like, if I would have heard this back in the day, bro, I'm out. I'm not watching any other shit that you're making at this point. Marvel's cool as fuck, but we gotta admit that it's been ass these past couple of years. Shang-Chi, Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday, those movies are going to be lit. Like, other than that, like, shit, we haven't even seen Blade. Blade was supposed to been come out. You see what they're doing, right? They're trying to do something, and it's a fail. Absolutely fail. Now, I'm not going to read all of this article, but my main point is, do not shit on an audience that is going to give you the most money. You need to fire those people that are doing those Star Wars movies. You need to bring my man George Lucas back. You need to bring everybody back in order to make this shit right. Otherwise, you're still going to make your money, Disney, because you're basically monopolizing the whole world at this point. But you're not going to get this generation or the next generation or the next generation. So soon that shit will go down. Not anytime soon, but in the future, it will. I hope that other film companies, because other film companies are going really Hollywood and pushing this woman route, which, that's fine. But please cater to their audiences and not the ones that are male oriented, like for us, like Marvel, DC. Like, don't do that. DC doesn't do that, but DC movies are ass. So no one gives a fuck about DC movies like that, except for the cartoons. So I just wanted to, more so just give a little bit of my opinions about that. This is all just, on the go, but I feel like this video is long enough. I feel like I've been ranting my head off, giving out different examples, and I'm back. So yeah, I'll see y'all next time.